You are listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank, your partner in possible.
Welcome to the KCSN Draft Show. I'm BJ Kissel. We are hanging out with ESPN's Matt Miller to talk a little Chiefs and a little NFL draft. We're going to focus on the running backs, as we had a chance to talk with three of them out at the East-West Shrine Bowl who are going to be drafted at some point over draft weekend. Excited to get Matt's takes on this. But Matt, man, appreciate your time. I know this is like Christmas season for you guys who study the NFL draft all year long.
Right, I'm like little elves making toys all day. No, it's fun, man. It's like I texted you this morning. I woke up and was like, "Oh man, it's draft season." Like it is. I got one day off to go to Royals home opener. They couldn't even win a game for me, but great time. And yeah, we got 4 weeks of fun ahead of us, and I'm excited for these conversations today.
Yeah, didn't run into you. I heard you ran into Tucker, but I did not run into you out at. Yeah, we were out there as well. I stole my kids out of school, which I stole my kids out of school, which they were happy about. We left right after MJ grounded in the double play in the fifth, but we made it 5 innings, which for an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old, like by myself, like I will take it 100%.
3 on and you grounded into a double play. It's going to be a long season. The young team, but you know what? It's a young team. It's a beautiful ballpark. And I'm just going to enjoy it. I don't even care if they're going to lose. I'm just going to enjoy it.
This could be a brutal transition. But speaking of young, let's talk about the Chiefs running back situation. Obviously, last year, another player talking about interviews and throwing to these interviews from the East-West Shrine Bowl. Chiefs running back Isaiah Pacheco. I have been constantly corrected when saying Pacheco that is not correct. So I hear you people.
Really?
Isaiah Pacheco. That's what I've been told in the comment section. And that's what I've been messaged at, that I've been consistently saying it wrong. So Pacheco.
I have
like cheeks. Well. All right. So we're learning something new today. And anybody listening that's been doing that as well, we're all get on the same boat here. And then now people are going to tell me that that's wrong and it was actually saying it right the whole time. So you can't trust the commenters sometimes. But I heard you. I looked it up. I've heard people say Pacheco. So we're going with Pacheco. But obviously Chiefs have a starting running back that they got last year late in the draft. Great for them. But running back is still an issue. I don't say an issue, but in an area that they're going to be adding a new body at least, because the only guys they have under contract right now, the running back position, are Isaiah Pacheco, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and we'll talk about him in a second because there's some thoughts about Clyde that I kind of differ with. So thoughts on that, and then LaMichael Pirine, another running back that was fighting for a roster spot, kind of been around the league. So another guy going into camp in the offseason that could try to earn a spot. But Matt, we'll talk about Pacheco, but I want to talk about the Clyde Edwards-Helaire thing first, because in looking at his contracts, I think a lot of Chiefs fans are just assuming that Clyde is going to be gone. I know a lot was made about him not being at the Super Bowl parade. He was up in New York doing his thing. I don't know all the behind the scenes. On the surface, from the outside, it looks kind of strange, but I don't think it's a given necessarily, because of the reason I'm going to bring up, that you just assume that he's not going to be here. And that is the fact that if Clyde Edwards-Helaire, one, he gets a $1.2 million guaranteed roster bonus for this season as part of his rookie deal. So he's due $1.2 million that he is going to be guaranteed regardless. But, Matt, his dead cap hit is $2.5 million if they cut him. If they keep him, his cap hit is 3.4. So you're only really extending that by like $900,000, which to go get a veteran running back, if you need a veteran, if you feel like you need a guy that's got some experience to go in that room, wouldn't it make sense to keep Clyde? At that point, you have a motivated player, or at least keep him through the preseason, maybe try to trade him if he spikes a little bit and has a good preseason?
So I got asked about this like right after the season. I was doing radio maybe in Kansas City, and somebody asked, I was like, it costs more to cut him than it does to keep him. So like why would you cut a player that, yeah, I mean, sure, he hasn't lived up to expectations. We can all agree with that. But I think he still has value. We're talking about a very inexpensive player. Like, you don't need the $2 million. You're good, right? So I also think he goes into the almost like the money ball of football. It's like, okay, well, how much is it going to cost to replace him versus what it costs to keep him? And so my answer at the running back position is bring back Jerick McKinnon. He's still out there as a free agent. You know, the best year of his career in your offense. I think there's some mutual interest there to get something done probably after the draft is when that's going to happen. But like, just bring Jet back and just run it back with the groups that you had last year. No pun intended. You have a good group. And if Clyde can be, the Ronald Jones of that group, then cool. Like, that's It's a very inexpensive third running back who knows the system. And if Pacheco, there you notice that, if Pacheco gets hurt, if McKinnon, who has had a lot of injury issues throughout his career, one of those guys goes down, you have a really reliable running back who knows the system. You don't got to bring somebody in off the street and teach him the system. So, hey, Clyde's been a disappointment. There's no way around that. But I think he still has value as a very inexpensive player for the next 2 years.
And he's a motivated player. I mean, it's not like he doesn't want to get rest, unless the relationship is beyond repair, which we don't know. And again, we're looking into the fact that he wasn't there for the Super Bowl parade. That's what at least I'm referring to. If people out there listening or watching or thinking about that too, is it beyond repair where if he doesn't want to be a part of what's going on? And there's no indication outside of speculation on why he was in New York that we would believe that. But to your point, like, why pay him and give him all those opportunities? And then when he's not that expensive and he knows he's got to perform if he wants to continue his NFL career beyond his rookie deal, that's a perfect time to keep a player. And the contract year is undefeated. I don't think, they're not keeping that 5th year option. But if you're only saving $900,000 by releasing him, he's worth $900,000 as a motivated player that does have talent. And so unless you're going to draft a guy, if they don't bring back McKinnon for whatever reason, you draft a guy and all of a sudden you have LaMichael Pirine, Isaiah Pacheco, and a rookie running back. That's a really young running back room. And so just with a couple first and second year players. So we'll see how that plays out. Let's talk a little bit about one of the running backs that's available in this draft if the Chiefs are going to add somebody, which I would not be surprised at all if they take a young running back or running back in the draft at some point. Not real high. Not trying to trigger anybody, but at some point in this draft. But let's talk the first guy that we had a chance to talk without at the East-West Shrine Bowl to get your thoughts on Xazavian Valladay, the running back out of Arizona State. Spent a few years, first chunk of his career with Wyoming, and then transferred and played at Arizona State his final year and put up some pretty big numbers, Matt.
Yeah, big numbers. That's what jumps off. And I think for players like this, what you want is you need that. We've talked about it before with some of these guys. You need that number. You need the thing, whether it might be a 40 time, it might be a vertical jump, it might be 16 touchdowns like Valladay had last year. It's like you need something that breaks out. And I think that's the key for him. Somebody who, this is an outside zone runner who had, that slasher size that Chiefs fans have seen a lot of. He's got his thing. He's got his calling card. It's the 16 touchdowns in your first season at Arizona State. That's definitely, what you think of first when you hear his name.
Yeah, we had a chance to talk to him. We'll throw to that interview here in a second, but it was important for him to change the level of competition, going from Wyoming and proving that he could play on a bigger stage. And 1,200 yards, 16 touchdowns with some of the plays, and you'll see it on the highlights in the video. I think he answered some of those questions. So right now, let's throw it to that interview at the East-West Shrine Bowl with us at KC Sports Network, hanging out, talking with Arizona State running back Xazavian Valladay.
Xavian, thanks for sitting down with us. We appreciate the time. We appreciate, your opportunity here. I just want to start with this. What got you into football? Like when you were younger, what got you playing the game of football?
So I had an uncle at the time, I was about at least like 6, 7 years old. And, I was trying to look for, things or like a career for me to do. And, my uncle at the time, his name was Cliff. And, I seen him playing football. I think the team was called the Spartans. So at the time, I thought it was very like, physical, and I thought it was just something that I could do. So, just having like, interest and just going to watch him practice and stuff, I had a nick for it, and just being able just to, start young and, try to find something I was good at.
And did your uncle help kind of not train you, but help improve you on the football field? Or is there another coach throughout your childhood that kind of helped get you to that point?
No, he didn't really coach me do anything, but I definitely thought, I had, some mentors, as far as, a guy named Coach Louis Trench, that's where I started my football career. And, that's where I started off learning what an A and B hole was. And, just being able just to pick up on, just the basics and the starts of everything, as far as, being a running back.
So did you have any players that you like to model your game after? Anybody that you watch that you look at and you're like, man, I feel like that's me. I can be that type of guy.
For sure. So when I was young, I had one running back at the time. My favorite college at the time was TCU, just because of Aaron Green and Josh Doxson. They just had like a whole bunch of history and stuff. But as I got older and as I started, to learn more about my game, I definitely thought that my game, everything that I was displaying was, similar to Alvin Kamara.
Yeah. So is there anything that you watch when you're watching Alvin Kamara that you're just like, I need to improve on that to get better at that like him, or something that you look at and you're like, man, I feel like I do that really well, just like him?
I definitely think is ways that Alvin, the way he can catch the ball out the backfield and be able just to, stick his foot in the ground and make that first defender miss. That's a lot of things that, I try to watch, whether if it's on YouTube or whether if it's him playing on Sundays, be like, man, like, how are you doing it? Like he's just knifing up field, he's like a slasher. So just being able just to, really lock in, sometimes like on my free time, I even take notes about, how guys doing stuff. I'll be on NFL Game Pass on YouTube, just watching, guys like Dalvin Cook, Melvin Gordon, just to see how, they break down, the defenses and, how they can get better on things throughout their career.
So when you're coming out of the locker room, coming out of the tunnel, getting ready for a game, what's going through your mind? What's your mentality as you're stepping onto the field to get ready for this game?
Dominate. I have to go out there and dominate. I have to be determined. Everything, I can't think about nothing but just, trusting in the process, trusting in the game plan. Whenever my number is called, I have to make plays, period.
Do you have a ritual or something that you have to do to get yourself in that kind of mindset? Or is it just a switch that you can flip as you step on the field?
I pray that I have a scripture, that I always, carry on the field with me, just believing in God that no weapon formed against me shall prosper. So, and I feel like, when I run, sometimes I think about that, I just get some chills just because, I feel like sometimes I'm not the only one out there running on the field. I feel like he's with me just, throughout everything that, I've been through. So, and I feel like a lot of people have, a lot of things that they carry on the back of their shoulders, just to keep them going.
So let's talk about your game prep. It's game week. You got stuff coming up. Maybe you guys have identified run concepts and things like that you're trying to prepare for. What sorts of things are you looking at on the film that you're trying to see, the creases that you might be able to find, maybe a certain defender that you feel like you can attack? What are you looking for, and how do you go about your preparation?
So, when I watch film, what I look for is I like to see, as far as the D linemen, to see, how good can they sustain blocks or, work off double teams to see if they get pushed back, or to see if they can control their gap, to see, if they can shed blocks, try to, make a move or a move on me. Or, different linebackers, it's a lot of teams that linebackers, they're very downhill and fast, or, a lot of lateral linebackers as well. So I'll definitely see, how the corners and safeties tackle, to see, if they always put their head down, like to, just go straight for your legs, for example, or if they like to hit you up high. So depending on what teams, depending on how they tackle, to see, how fast their strong safety can come and fit the box for runs, or just to see, just different type of tendencies to see, how fast guys can, get ready to, make a play.
So let's talk about, you're out in the flat, you got a corner, coming up against you, trying to come up with a tackle. What's going through your mind? Are you excited because you got a DB on you and you feel like you can make a play in open space? Or, kind of walk us through a little bit what you're thinking, your eyes getting wide, all of that.
So definitely, as running backs, we love to run on corners, because they always think that we're so big. So they're instantly their first instinct, I'm going to go for his legs, because they don't want to tackle us up, high. So just being able just to, if I was to catch a pass and, on the flat, or if I was to break a run and bounce it to the outside, I look at you in your eyes like, come on, man, bring it on, because, like this is something that you better be ready for. So just being able just to, I'm gonna bring the fight to you, because, whether you're backing up in zone coverage, or, and you're a man and you see me coming off, so you want to, stick your foot in the ground and get upfield, I'm either gonna make a move and try to, because you're gonna have to keep the cup. You got to stay outside, force me back inside. So if you don't do that, then, you're going to hear your coach yelling at you on the sideline. So just being able just to, be aware of my situations, being able just to, stick my foot in the ground, because most corners go low. So it's just about driving these and, being explosive.
So is there a game from your college career that you would point someone to that maybe hasn't watched you before to say, hey, go watch this game to see what I'm all about, to see your game the best?
Definitely. I'd probably say probably Oklahoma State or UCLA. And I say that because, it's probably been a lot of questions out there about me playing at the next level and playing higher competition. So going to the Pac-12, I feel like our biggest game was probably UCLA or Oklahoma State. Those out of conference, those non-conference games are always big. Especially for players to to have a big performance on. So just being able just to show my speed against Oklahoma State and being able to show my versatility out of the backfield against UCLA.
Is there a specific play from either one of those games that you kind of remember every little detail about and that you could walk me through?
So I had an outside zone play. I actually had a couple of plays against Oklahoma State. The first play might have been the first play of our series, when we got the ball. I had a inside zone play. I definitely cut it off the back of our fullback. Case Hatch, he definitely had a great block for me where, I ran for at least like 40 yards just to, be able to show my speed. And, I got a safety came and, tackled me out of bounds. And, later in that game, I think it was probably like the first or second play in the fourth quarter where we had the same outside zone play that we were trying to scheme the defense on. And just being able just to, follow my offensive lineman outside on the left side, being able just to be patient to get my wide receivers to get that key block to me to spring on down the sideline and just being able to show my speed. But I've definitely broke off a couple long runs just to be able to show I could play at the next level.
So let's say you break off a big long run, score a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
It's the game. It's the play that ices the game. You just won the game for your team. Do you want that to be at home in front of all your fans where you're celebrating, everybody's going crazy? Or do you want it to be on the road against your biggest rival and everything goes quiet because you just ended the game?
Man, I would definitely love to be on the road. I would love to be on the road just because you might not think when you're on the road, a lot of people might not know you. So, just, you showing out just, from the first quarter to all the way to the fourth quarter, whether if it's 7-21 in the first half, and then we come back and tie the game 21-21, and it's 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and you have to show like who's gonna make this big play to either win the game or you just gonna go into overtime. So I definitely want to be on the road.
So you come off the field after a big game, not necessarily that one, but any big game. What do you want to hear the opposing coach say about you on the podium? What sorts of things let you know that you've had a really good game that game?
He was tough to stop, even though we tried to game plan against him. Everything that we tried to do, it didn't slow him down.
Do you have a favorite concept, whether a run or you mentioned Alvin Kamara earlier, a pass route that you like to run? Do you just have a favorite play called for you when it's your turn to get yours? It's all about you?
Definitely. I love running gap scheme. And my favorite pass play would probably, be an option route or definitely mesh concept.
Oh, yeah.
So just be able to show that speed, probably get a nice ball over the top, against a linebacker that's trying to keep up with me, man.
All right, so let's fast forward a little bit. Let's get through this long process. It's a long draft process. Let's get to the end of it. It's draft night. You get that phone call. You pick it up. Team tells you that they are drafting you right then. What's going through your mind? What emotions are you feeling in that moment?
Man, it'll probably just be so much going on, just being able to, just to see, if they think I'm the right fit for them, and, me just being able just to see, I would love to be the right fit. I feel like I'm the right fit for any team, just being able just to, have people believe in me, and, being able just to, watch my film and just believe in everything that I've displayed, to all of them. So, man, it'll probably be a lot of emotions going on. Just, it took a long time coming, dreams coming true, just a whole bunch of things going on. Just being able to be blessed and have that opportunity.
All right, welcome back to the KCSN Draft Show. I'm BJ Kissel. We're hanging out with ESPN draft expert, Mr. Matt Miller, to be part of ESPN's coverage of the 2023 NFL Draft. That's here in Kansas City. So, Matt, man, we just watched the interview with Xazavian Valladay, and now we're going to go to the next one and talk about a player that I know you and I both like. Really enjoyed this interview with Houston's Derek Parish, a Fullback, not a traditional running back like
Football player.
And the next
He's
guy,
a football player.
A football player, exactly how Kent Swanson described him in the interview that we'll throw to in a minute. But give me your thoughts on Derek Parish and what kind of team is going to take a chance on a player that doesn't have a great fit anywhere, but just one of those dudes you want in your locker room.
Doesn't have a great fit anywhere, can play everywhere. This is the Taysom Hill of defensive line prospects in this draft class, Matt. No, he is not your conventional edge rusher. He's 6'2", 245 pounds. I don't care. If I were running an NFL team, and I will try to use my influence with every general manager I know, I'm drafting him in the 7th round. Like, I want to make sure, like, this is not a UDFA player. I want to make sure this dude's on my team because he's a starting fullback in the NFL. And I know that maybe it doesn't mean as much as it used to, but he's a starting fullback in the NFL. He's going to just absolutely bomb people on special teams, right? And then he could come in as a situational edge rusher. The value, I just named 3 positions he can play that you need. The value is absolutely there at a very low cost. But also, like, I've talked to coaches at Houston who say, like, this is a program building type player because he's selfless. He's a great leader. I can't wait to see the interview because I know he's a great personality as well. Yeah, and he gets it. There's no pretense here where he thinks that he's going to be the next Nick Bosa, right? That's not happening. He knows that, hey, I have an opportunity to carve out a future for myself in the NFL, and I will do whatever it takes to be that guy. And so I think if Coach Dana likes you at Houston, that helps, right? And I know Dana loves Derek. So, yeah, man, I'm excited to see where just please, God, let a team draft him that has a sense of humor and also that is willing to let him be himself. You guys have a great history of fullbacks in Kansas City from Anthony Sherman to Michael Parton. Like, let Derek Parish be the next guy. There's an opening. You don't have a fullback right now. Colin Saunders is gone too, so you lost your other option of fullback.
I don't want to talk about that.
Here's your things. This is your answer. So,
yeah, we've been saying for years, you get down to the end of training camp and you try to figure out that 53-man roster, and it always come down to fullback, and you'd always have that very short conversation of like, do we need a fullback? Do we need to keep this? Because we're giving up a receiver and all the 10th offensive lineman or the 7th receiver, 7th corner, or whatever it is, 7th DB. And the Chiefs would always keep one, and they don't have one on the roster right now. I know there's some talk out there about Noah Gray playing some H-back and playing some fullback in college. So if they need somebody in that role, maybe he does it. But if they're going in the draft to get a player to play some of those fullback reps that the Chiefs do like to use, and then a special teams player, I would be ecstatic if Derek Parish ended up in a Kansas City Chiefs uniform. So, Matt,
and you know what? I'm a Niners fan. If Derek Parish, Brett Veach, listen to me. Clip this out for me, Tucker. I'm going to send this to Veach. If you draft Derek Parish, not only will I be sporting a Derek Parish jersey, I will buy Chiefs season tickets and probably give them all away because I'm not going. But like this, he would instantly be my second favorite player on the Kansas City Chiefs.
This is a great segue because if you wear a Derek Parish jersey, you have to wear it the way that Derek Parish wears his jerseys, which is very much a crop top. You are rocking like not even like the just the abs, like the full on like bottom of pecs like type crop top.
That BJ, no one might see that. Yeah, but I appreciate the vote of confidence.
All right, let's throw to that interview. Here's our guys at KC Sports Network talking with Houston fullback / edge rusher / special teams captain, just a football player, Derek Parish.
We're excited to be talking to Derek Parish, the edge rusher, fullback. I just want to call you a football player out of Houston.
Everything.
Yeah, Derek, thanks for joining us, man.
I appreciate it. Thank y'all for having me.
Let's talk a little about the game of football, how you fell in love with it.
Pretty early on. I played first year of football, I think 5 or 6. It was flag. Got into a little league. I was tackle, and man, I think I'm a brag. We were pretty cold. We lost two games in 4 years. So, going into school ball and stuff, that was a pretty fun experience. And since then, it's just love of the game. It's my first love. So gave up everything for this game.
Is there anyone throughout your childhood or your life that's kind of helped inspire you to make this push and get you going down this path to football?
Definitely. Troy Polamalu, because I wore 43 in Little League.
Okay.
So, he played safety and stuff, but the way he played the game was really what kind of hit home for me. So,
what are what are the things that you want an opposing coach to say about Derek Parish, the player, when they get done playing you?
You're a damn good ball player. That's probably the biggest compliment. Like you're a force to stop. That's happened a couple of times, and that makes you feel good coming off the field, knowing that, your opposing team sees you as that kind of player.
So let's talk a little bit. Your edge rusher, fullback, you're just kind of playing everywhere. How did that come about for you during your career?
I grew up playing a bunch of positions. I started as running back in Little League. Actually, no, fullback, but I, got carries and stuff. Mm-hmm. Fullback and defensive end in Little League. As I went into like junior high ball, I played little receiver, outside linebacker. Going into college, I played, not college, high school, I played safety, got moved down to middle linebacker. Senior year, got moved down to D lineman. And then moved into, when I was getting recruited, I got recruited as a linebacker, middle linebacker to U of H. Then moved down to outside linebacker within a 3-4 scheme, and then got into a 4-2, got moved down to stand-up edge rusher, and then sprinkled in a little fullback my last 3 years there.
Now, did you request it to go play fullback, or did they ask you to?
They pitched it to me, and I was like, let's do it. It was a short yardage thing, and I've been told that I've got a pretty good build for fullback, so I want to take it head on, and just help the team win. Really, do what I can.
Okay, so let's talk about you're kind of transitioning more to a fullback role. It seems like in the NFL. How do you think that edge rusher background is going to help you as you try to develop into a full-time fullback?
I think it'll do great for me because I have those tools as well as learning on top of an offensive position, mm-hmm. And I think a player that can do both ways is a valuable player along with special teams and all that. So, I had a great coach at a U of H, Coach Early, who really, didn't just teach me to be a DN. He taught me how to be a efficient pass rusher, the chess game, all that. So I think those tools will help me, become what I want to become in the NFL.
You mentioned a coach there at Houston. Do you have another coach or somebody that has kind of just helped be a mentor to you throughout your entire football playing career that you're maybe still in contact with or anything like that?
Oh yeah. Daryl Bauer, the strength, Coach Bauer, strength coach. He forged my mind, body, and taught me how to get another gear, like find that next gear. So I thank him for basically transforming me into who I am right now, who I am today.
Derek, I got a really, really deep, meaningful question to ask you. So when I watch your tape, the first thing that sticks out to me is the crop top. And like right now, the thighs are out right now in this interview. Right. How are you going to, I think one of the biggest transitions for you to the NFL might be you might not be able to use the crop top in the National Football League. How are you going to navigate that?
I've thought about that, and I've seen people get fined for wardrobe stuff on the field. You might just have to eat it up. My crop top's probably over with, and I'm okay with that.
So Derek, what you're saying, you play for free if you could just wear a crop top.
I'll take the fine. Yeah, it all depends, but no, I'm just playing. That's funny.
That's a good question. I love it. I love the wardrobe choices. Those are great. I think
he does those too. Like, I'm surprised he's wearing a shirt right now.
It was cold at practice. I wasn't playing. It was cold at practice today. I had to get warm up. So here's my question. So I think it kind of goes along with that. What's your mentality like when you're stepping out on the football field? What's going through your mind of like what you want to accomplish, not specifically personally or anything like that, just like when you step out onto the field?
I see the game. It's a gladiator sport, man versus man. And, when you walk into a stadium, that's our Coliseum. So it's a game of inches. You have to fight to win. And that's I kind of embrace that feeling going into a game, knowing like it's an aggressive game. And that's the tone you have to set within yourself stepping on the field.
So let's talk about the pre-draft process a little bit. What are the things that you're wanting to make the most improvements on through the pre-draft process?
I would say fully understanding an offensive playbook. I mean, it's a whole nother language, knowing what words mean for you. But I think these past 3 days, I've, tenfold gotten better at understanding it, knowing what's for me and how to listen to a play call, things like that.
It's something so simple. They flip everything upside down. Now all of a sudden you got the offensive facing you instead of the defense.
Yeah. And, I see that as a good opportunity because it helps me learn just the whole game of football in general. And, as playing fullback, I know what that DN's taught to do. I know what that linebacker's taught to read. So I can kind of manipulate that in my gameplay as a fullback.
So Derek, you talk about, a little bit of background with the fullback position. Were you having to deal with a lot of protections when you were learning the fullback position at Houston? Or is that something that's pretty new as you're kind of getting acclimated through the pre-draft process?
So what we did at Houston, and I only played a game in it during the COVID season, the bowl game, but it was a short yardage. So it was either I would line in the eye, kick out the end, 42 blast, getting into the A gap and, getting those 2 yards for the first down, things like that. But it was simplistic to what I'm being taught now, which, but I think those tools that I learned to how to block from every, the Y position, the F position in college. So I think that's helping me transition into this process now.
And we're going to go back to kind of your career at Houston here. Is there a specific play that you can remember as just like your favorite play from your time playing at Houston on either side of the ball or anything like that?
Yeah. So it wasn't my play, but it was USF, I'm sorry. And we had the D end on the other side. It was a fumbled snap. He picked it up, came in, he strip sacked it, and the ball floated into my hands, and I returned it for 85 yards for a touchdown.
How close is anyone to catching you?
Oh, no, no, not even close. Probably about 10, 15 yards.
So was that game at USF or at home?
It was at home.
Okay, so would you rather that play have been at home, celebrating you with your fans, or would you have rather been at USF and shutting the entire crowd up?
USF.
That's that defensive player coming through still.
Yeah, it's awesome when you make a big play away and the whole crowd just goes silent, but our sideline's going nuts. That's a euphoric feeling.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's fast forward a little bit. We're going to draft night. Draft night's here. You've been going through this whole long process. You get that phone call. You pick it up. You've been selected. What's going through your mind as you're answering that phone and going through that phone call?
Shoot, I'll probably break down and cry. I don't know, because this is something you dream of as a kid. And, as a kid growing up, you see it on the TV. It seems like, I want to go to the NFL, but it's so far away at that time. As a little kid, you really don't if it could happen, might not, but now it's so close and it's in reach. I bet it'll be a euphoric feeling. I'll probably tear up or something, jump up and down, do a backflip or something. I don't know.
So who's going to be there with you? Or more importantly, who's the first person you're giving a hug to after that phone call?
My mom, for sure. She gave up everything. She sacrificed a lot for me and my brother to just be able to play sports and love what we do on the field and just sacrificing everything. Saturdays, weekends, after work, she's tired, but she's taking us to practice when, she could be in bed and cooking us dinner or something. So definitely my mom.
That's Houston ball player, Derek Parish.
Welcome back to the KCSN Draft Show. BJ Kissel hanging out with ESPN's Matt Miller. We just watched interviews with Xazavian Valladay and Derek Parish from the East-West Shrine Bowl. 2 great interviews. Enjoyed talking with those guys and being around them a little bit when we were out there. Matt, now let's get to the final player, and that is Utah's Tavion Thomas, the 3rd player that we had a chance at the running back position to talk to at the East-West Shrine Bowl. What is it that you like about Tavion Thomas?
This dude is a bulldozer. Bulldozer, bowling ball, whatever you want. He's a thick dude at running back. And I do wonder if we're going to see, we talked about Derek Parish being a fullback. I wonder if Tavion Thomas, depending on where he goes, if he's going to play more fullback, or Ramondre Stevenson, when he was coming out of Oklahoma, there was this conversation about certain teams are going to use you as more of an old school, type fullback, but New England obviously uses him as a tailback, so it works out fine. I think Tavion, there's recent similar conversations because he's 237 pounds. He ran a 4.7 at the combine, which is more in line with those fullback numbers. You could either be the most athletic fullback in the NFL or the least athletic running back in the NFL. It's kind of where we're at. But I think, if you were to ask me the 3 guys that we're talking about today, who's most likely to get drafted, I think it's Tavion Thomas, because the production was fantastic at Utah, and he's proven that he could do it. And I do still think that there is a shift to going back to that downhill, hard-nosed football, and he fits that. So if you want a one-cut dude that's just going to smash people, you short yardage back, that's who Tavion Thomas is. So, and I will say, earlier in his career, he was bigger and a little bit more heavy-footed. I thought he was actually lighter, more athletic this year. I know the combine performance wasn't great, but I think as a running back, there's a role for a player like this. As defenses get smaller, wouldn't you like a 235-pound sledgehammer that you can throw at him every now and then?
It's amazing how it always goes back and forth, and the defense gets bigger and then they get faster, and it's just the ebbs and flows of how the NFL and the schemes and all that stuff work. But I know at the East-West Shrine Bowl, I had a chance I was talking with our friend Emory Hunt, quite a bit, and that guy loves him some big running backs, and we spent some time talking about Tavion Thomas. But be interesting to see, as far as the Chiefs, what kind of role or what kind of fit there would be there. Had 687 yards rushing last year, did deal with an injury missed some time and then opted out of that bowl game to get ready for the draft. The one knock on him, and it's more of the fullback discussion that it ties into, but just 10 catches for 50 yards in his career. Not a big receiver out of the backfield, which Andy Reid loves to use. Not that he can't find a skill set with anybody and figure out a way to bring it out. But let's throw to that interview right now with Utah's Tavion Thomas.
Hanging out with running back Tavion Thomas out of Utah. Tavion, thanks for hanging out with us, man.
Thank y'all for having me on the show, man.
Yeah, dude, we're really excited to talk to you. I would love to know just a little bit about your journey into the game of football. Why did you fall in love with football?
I fell in love with football because I knew where it could take me at. Football, it took me to a lot of places that I thought I would never be able to experience and see. So once I just picked that up and, I just always ran with it. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Is there someone in your life, childhood, that has helped inspire you to chase this dream?
Yeah, I want to say my family and like my coaches and stuff like that helped me.
So when did you kind of realize that football was something that could change your life?
I want to say probably my junior year when I started when I went to school for it. Like I'm like, dang, like this is really changing, like, I'll just probably say that, and knowing that I'm getting looked at for the NFL and stuff like that. So that's probably that helped me out a lot too.
Is there a coach that you've had that's really helped make an impact on you as a player on the field that you still feel like you can go back and talk to today about anything that you have going on?
Yeah, I want to say my high school coach from high school. He still be in my ear, man. So I'll probably say him.
So let's talk about what you're trying to improve through this pre-draft process. Obviously, this is a big opportunity for you to be full-time in football and kind of go through that. What are the things that you're really trying to emphasize in developing for before the draft?
I want to just my hands, because people say I can't catch it, so I want to show them I can catch. You feel me? And I'll probably say just really like delving into the little details of the game, learning different languages and stuff like that. Probably just say that.
So when you're getting ready to go out there on the field for a game, what's your mentality as you're coming out of the locker room, you're coming out of the tunnel, going out there? What's going on in your head? What's your mentality as you're taking the field?
I'm trying to destroy it, man. I'm trying to, whoever in my way, I'm trying to, just run through them and stuff like that. So that's really like my mentality. I don't try to be like friendly with people, especially on the field.
Can you turn that on as you're stepping on the field, or do you have a little bit of like a process or something to get to that point before the game?
So I'll probably say after that first little, that first play, then it's like, okay, boom, I'm on. Then it's like, I'll probably just say that, like that first little after that snap, and it's like just get me warmed up, get me going, and then I just go from there.
All right, let's talk about what's your favorite play that you like to run. You like to run it up inside, you want to run zone, you want to run outside. What do you want?
I like the outside, and I like going downhill too. So it's pretty much, as long as you feel me, we running. I don't really care which way, but I really like outside zone, stuff like that.
Is there a specific game throughout your career that you would go back to and just tell someone to go watch to see the best version of you that you think's out there?
So I won't count Stanford, I ain't gonna lie, but a real deal game that you see me, cutting and, learning the shot, I'll probably say UCLA. That game right there.
Is there a specific play from that game, or maybe another one that really stands out in your mind as just your favorite play from your career?
Well, Stanford, I kind of got my favorite look because it got me, dipping and split defenders and ran downfield. I'll probably say Stanford got my favorite highlight play.
Yeah.
But like the game, just to, dog on dog, UCLA.
So the Stanford play, what do you mind telling me what the call was and just kind of why you remember it so much?
It was an inside zone.
Uh-huh.
So I did my overcross step and I seen the linebacker coming. So when I seen it, he hit the gap. I done dip, boom. Then another lineman came. I got skinny. Fed me. I shot through it, and Smooth after that. Yeah, I was just running. Got caught a little bit, but I still made it through. You feel me? We still got a touchdown. Still got through.
All right, so where was that game at?
So we played at home in Utah.
All right, so let's say you're making a big play like that. And do you want that play to be at Utah at home with all your fans freaking out in front of you? Or do you want it to be on the road, shutting everybody up, place goes quiet?
I want it on the road. I want to spoil their little parade. So I'll probably say on the road.
Tavion, pass protection is obviously a big thing for running backs as you're getting into the next level. How comfortable do you feel with pass protection? And what do you think it's going to be like trying to transition to the NFL where there's a lot more protection calls, a lot more assignments and adjustments there?
I love blocking. That's my man. Like, that's just my passion. If you ask anybody, like, they know, like, we get the one-on-ones, whatever. I'm trying to eat. I don't know. I just love to block. So, and I love to, like I said, I love to go hit. So it's like, I feel like I'm adjust to it real good because that's what I'm looking for more than even just run a little bit. It's kind of crazy, but yeah, I'm looking for like blocking and protecting quarterback and stuff like that.
So after a game, you have a good game or just after a game, what do you want the opposing coach, they get up on their podium, they're giving their presser. What do you want them to say about you after a game's over?
So that boy a handful, but I really don't be looking for it, but I want them to say like he was a handful. We got to get on him, man. Yeah, I'd probably say that.
So let's fast forward, through this draft process. It's long, it's grueling. You finally get to the end. It's draft night, and that phone call comes in. It's a team calling you, telling you they've selected you. Just what are the emotions that you're going to be going through at that point in time?
Man, I ain't gonna lie. Kind of give me chills right now to even think about that card, man, because it's gonna be a lot of emotion. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't even gonna say. Y'all probably gonna see me boo-hoo. I ain't gonna lie, cause I'll probably say that's gonna be a lot of emotion.
And who's all gonna be there with you, or just more importantly, who are you gonna give a hug to first after that call?
I want to say Mom Dukes. I'm a hug my mom and my cousin, my kids and stuff like that. So it's gonna be one of them ones.
Tavion, best of luck to you, man. We really appreciate you spending some time with us.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all for having me on your show.
Welcome back to the KCSN Draft Show. I'm BJ Kissel, hanging out with ESPN's Matt Miller. All right, Matt, that was the final interview that we've got. Let's put a bow on this show, talking running backs for the Chiefs. If you were Brett Veach, Chiefs general manager, or on that staff, how would you attack the running back position as it relates to the draft? You mentioned Jerick McKinnon still being out there as a free agent off the top. I guess I'll ask you a more specific question. Do you think the Jerick McKinnon stuff, like a lot of veterans, that it may, if he hasn't signed at this point, it's probably going to be till after the draft, either not wanting to report soon or something to do with, the compensatory pick formula for any veteran that signs a deal over $2 million counts against the comp pick? Maybe it has something to do with that as to why he hasn't signed, but in general, how would you attack this to the Chiefs?
Yeah, I think it's nice knowing you have an option with Jet. You can head into the draft with 11 picks, is that where the Chiefs are at right now? It feels like it changes daily. So you can head into the draft with a ton of capital and say, hey, if a player falls, depending on our board, we could select someone, and then, maybe Jet's not an option. So I will say this is a very deep running back class. Obviously, Bijan Robinson from Texas is going to go first round. But then you have like Jahmyr Gibbs, who's a fantastic receiver out of the backfield. He's going to go early round too. But there are so many players who can either be starters or big time role players, like Zach Evans from Ole Miss, who some people will remember from when he was at TCU. He was actually the number one running back class in the year that Bijan Robinson went to Texas. He was the number one back. Zach Evans was. So this is a very talented guy. Devin Achane from Texas A&M. If you want a slasher, if you want a speed back to pair with Pacheco, there's your dude right there. Who's he's smaller, but he's just electrically fast in the open field. So I think there's that, if they've decided that role of the pass catching running back is important because of what we saw last year, I think there are young options that are going to be a little bit healthier long-term than Jet McKinnon. But I'm such a huge fan of his that I hope for his sake and for the Chiefs' sake, I hope he's back. But it's a great running back class, dude, where, just like last year, you could find a guy in round 6 who's going to play and play a lot, or round 7. Pacheco was round 7. You can find a guy that could be a starter, in late day 3. So I think that position's also just like, why wouldn't you draft one every year or every other year at least, just to churn the bottom of your roster?
I'm just bothered that you're talking to a K-Stater here about a short electric running back the Chiefs might take, and you're not talking about our guy Deuce Vaughn. I mean, if you're looking for a if they've not Jerick McKinnon coming back, but you want somebody that can fill that role,
well, I didn't say short, so you're short. So your son is probably taller than Deuce Vaughn, BJ. Let's be honest.
That's not a bad thing for a running back.
No,
especially if that's a thick. It's the same thing with. I don't want to compare him thinking he's going to have the kind of career that Darren Sproles did. Darren Sproles like top 10 in NFL history and like all-purpose yards. Right. But I will compare him in that a lot of people thought that Sproles was too small, not just in stature, but they didn't realize how thick and strong that dude was. It's the same thing with Deuce Vaughn. That dude's took some hits. He's short, but he is not thin or wiry in that kind of way. Where we've seen some guys come out that have that speed, like a D'Anthony Thomas, where his frame was just really small. No, it's not the same exact kind of player, but Deuce Vaughn's size, I think, is more of an advantage for him, especially at the NFL level, hiding behind these guys, than it is necessarily a detriment or a problem.
It's just knowing what he does, and I think that's the guy was uber productive at K-State. So there's obviously talent there, right? On a serious note, there's obviously talent there. It's just finding a role. Like, are you going to draft him and expect him to stay in on 3rd down and keep Patrick Mahomes from getting smacked in the face? Absolutely not. That's not what someone would jump over him to get to Pat. It's not going to happen. But if you wanted, somebody that
I never thought about that,
dynamic and open space, he's going to hide behind Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith and Lucas Nyang or whoever's at right tackle, and he's durable, he's proven, he's elusive. Yeah, there's a role for a guy like that. You just have to know what they're good at.
All right, appreciate everybody for hanging out. This was a fun episode of the KCSN Draft Show. We've got plenty more content and a special series starting tomorrow, starting Saturday, April 1st on our YouTube channel. We will have a different breakdown of a different draft prospect every day leading up to the draft with Kent Swanson, and former Chiefs linebacker and 10-year NFL veteran Sean Barber is going to be helping break those down. So make sure to hit the like and subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you're following us there and don't miss any of those breakdowns, because that's going to be a whole lot of fun. Matt, man, appreciate you for joining us, and we'll talk next week.
Thanks for watching this production of KC Sports Network, the fastest growing sports media network in Kansas City. Check out these videos that feature our team of more than 15 former players, insiders, and analysts, bringing you the best Chiefs coverage you can find. Entertain, educate, inform. KC Sports Network.